Walk us through that. Like, what does that mean? That means so many different things. Like, what is it for you selling two shows?
So I worked with another writer and we created a concept and then we went and pitched it to production companies. One of them wanted to do it. And then the three of us went to a studio together and the studio wanted to do it. And so then the studio comes on board. And then I think there were five of us. And then we went to the network and the network says, yes, we want to do it. And then we're all like a little team. And then we basically got paid to write a pilot script. And the first one almost got picked up, did not. And so then my second go around, we were with the same production company again. And we went directly to the network this time, like skipped over the studio. And then the network decided to buy it. And then we ended up with the same studio again. And again, we got paid to write the script and it did not go. So it's, you get like a deadline article. It's very, very exciting.
Yeah,
And it's, these were networks. So like these were broadcast. And so they have like a pretty strict schedule. Like it's in cable and streaming, you can create something and then it's like out in the ether and they can wait and blah, blah, blah. But with broadcast, it's like you're selling in August, September, you're writing through December, January, and by around like this time if it's going or not. And so I did like that timetable, at least, of like they have to tell
right.
And I've seen other people, just have things dragged out for years.
Yeah, it's a meeting based town. So like taking meetings is like it's fun. It's like it's like where all the action happens, and you
Well, and
feel
some
like your
people
life.
really don't like meetings,
I love
some people,
meetings.
well, but you're lucky. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to go on a meeting ever again. I just want to like create. And so, it's hard because you have to go on the meetings to be able to sell what you create.
Yeah. When you're selling these shows and you're selling it without the script that they're going to pay you to
Right.
write,
Yeah.
what are you bringing to the meeting that's selling them? Is there anything physical, or is it just like you're just selling them the idea in the room?
No, it's so for ours, we end up creating like a very long, a lot of people call it like a show Bible. And so it's like a pitch document. It ends up being like 10 to 15 pages of like why you want to do this, who the characters are, what you think the pilot would be, and then what some like additional other storylines would be. And so you are like learning that, memorizing that. You have personal anecdotes that you're putting into it, and you really have to like sell it. And sometimes you're talking for like 30 minutes straight too. Like it's just like, you're going through it. Luckily I pitched with my writing partner, so we were able to like ping pong back and forth, so that was helpful. But we were sitting at one of the networks and another like group of writers came in and they had like a poster board that they walked in with, and it had like pictures and all that, and we were like, oh no, we don't have, like, you felt like you were at school
Oh yeah,
and
that
you
feel.
like
Oh yeah,
forgotten
yeah.
the project. But they were trying to sell a procedural, like an hour-long drama procedural, and so they had all these different characters that they like needed to show. But it did make you be like, oh shit, I'm just going in there and like talking as myself. How boring for these people.
Yeah, that was the worst on school days when you come in with your project you're proud of, and then someone's
Yeah.
just like has a full volcano and it's exploding. You're like, all
Yes.
right.
So it was definitely that feeling.
What are like the pros and cons of like showing up to that meeting with the pitch book and also the script, like like the first the pilot?
I don't really know, just because I've done it the like I don't think it's even necessarily the more traditional route. I've just done it like the concept route. I think when you have a script, it's a lot easier for them to be like, no,
Right.
but it's also you're more set in like, this is what it is. Do you want it or not? And with both the shows I've sold, there were definitely major like tweaks that happened at some point that were either what the studio or the network wanted, and you either go, okay, I can make that work, or no, I don't want to do that. And then, if you say no, I don't want to do that, you run the risk of them being like, well, then we don't want to do the show. So, script in hand, you're like, this is what it is, do you want it? Idea in hand, I think there's they like to like sort of have their fingers on it a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you're coming with the idea, they can feel like they're they're helping you get the little bird out of the
Yes.
tree. But if you come with
Yeah.
the script, it's like you're kind of selling different things. One, you're selling a script. The other one, you're selling an idea. An idea is more
Right.
exciting. Script is like homework. I got to go home and read this and make notes. And
Right. So like with the first one, it got really close. I'm like still so proud of what we wrote. And then because it was so strong, they wanted to take it elsewhere. You know, like the one network didn't want to do it. And so it was like, okay, let's take it other places. But then by doing that, we took it to places and they were like, well, we didn't help develop this.
yeah,
And so a lot of places really just like to be on the ground floor. And, you know, maybe that's just an excuse and they didn't like what it was or it wasn't right for them. But you do end up hearing that of like, oh, we want to be there since the beginning. And sometimes that turns people off if they're not.